Hey, all you zombie fans out there, welcome to another exciting episode of The Zurvivalist. This is episode 9 of season 3. In fact, we're gearing up to finish out the season tomorrow on Halloween with our 10th episode this time around. And with us today, we have Erik from San Antonio. Erik, how are you doing?
I'm doing really good. Thanks to be here.
Awesome. Thank you for coming on short notice. We just met like 20 minutes ago and set this whole thing up. So, which works
Yeah.
out great because that's where you get like the best interviews and everything. So tell the folks at home about your project Dead Wrecked, because you're telling me a little bit about that.
It's a weekly show. I have episodes every Wednesday. It's like a zombie comedy horror series. It's pretty fun. I get my friends involved, and yeah, it's every Wednesday at 8. And on the weekends, I have Zombie Corner, which is at 8 also. And I pretty much review zombie books, films, other stuff like that, or participate in like zombie community based stuff. Like I went to a zombie walk last weekend.
Nice, nice. Was that a lot of fun for you?
Yeah, it was. Got to meet a lot of people. Got to advertise for the show. It was pretty weird. We were walking down to Yamo, having a lot of people all bunched up on the sidewalk because they didn't free up the street, so we're all bunched up. Saw a lot of people in cool costumes. Saw this one guy. He was chained to his friend, and like they had some really cool like designs like that. They were like fake amputeed arms and all this other
Oh,
stuff. So it was
nice.
really cool done.
So okay, so what is the website for your show?
Um, it's a Google site. It's kind of I'm working on it right now. It's always down in the links below if you ever check out my videos.
Sure.
So
And
yeah.
the notes will be in the show notes, so you guys
Uh,
can get those
yeah.
then. So okay, let's ask the question then. Erik, how would you survive a zombie outbreak?
I follow J.L. Bourne, his book Day by Day Armageddon. I would usually like bug out the first part. I'd usually leave, have like a little survival pack for like short term. Um, I don't know about staying because if you stay at a house too long, you're always going to attract attention. That's be more of a fear factor, and I don't want to stay in a place for too long.
True. Well, you mentioned the Day by Day Armageddon books, and I've read a portion of the first one, and I don't like. How would you feel? I've always felt that was really over the top zombie survival. The whole point of him saying he had like under submarine batteries in his house felt very fictionalized and of how he was approaching the apocalypse. Do you see any of that kind of stuff as well, or is it kind of because I haven't finished it. I've only read the first little bit. So does it get more realistic, or yeah, well
Well,
that
like,
yeah, sorry, I
yeah,
lost my train of thought, but yeah, that
yeah.
was the question.
Like his point of view, it's like the perfect storm of like how he would survive. That's what I liked about his stories. But yeah, some of it's kind of fictionalized. It's kind of like if you could actually do that, like I think you could probably do with some car batteries, but if you could do it like submarine batteries that last for like days on end, that'd be perfect. But some of the stuff is kind of fictionalized, and if you get further onto a story, it gets a little bit more wild. But it's like stuff that could exist. It just I don't know how you get into it, but he's actually an active duty officer in the military, and it's actually I think that's why he knows so much. But
Yeah, because I know he's in the military, and the book has come across my desk, and I need to finish it. So, but sorry, I just wanted to point that out. But continue.
yeah, it's really good. I follow it all the way from the first to second book. His third one's supposed to come out either this year in the summer or something like that, but or like next year in the summer. And I'm hoping for that. And it's got a really cool story. The second book's ending has kind of a twist to it. Some people are kind of pissed off about it. I really liked it, and it's actually a cool explanation for the zombies. But I don't know. You read it. I'd suggest you talk about that later on.
Sure. Yeah. No. No spoilers. No spoilers.
Yeah.
So okay, based on the idea from what he says in his books, and San Antonio's a large city, I would say.
Yeah, it is.
And we've had other people on from Texas, like last week's episode. Nurse was from Dallas, and Morgan from the first episode of the season was also from San Antonio. So you guys have a lot in common, Texas wise. So you have a lot of support within your state. Um, like, what's your situation? Like, do you live in an apartment? Do you live in a house? Are you married, kids, girlfriend, that kind of thing? Like, what's your situation? How would you take what you have and make sure you kept it alive?
Have a house. Don't live with my girlfriend. Actually have a battle supplies and like all this other stuff. I collect a lot of knives and blunt instruments like that. I make my own improvised weapons, which is always pretty fun. Surviving, I laid out this strategy of like how to pick up my family, who would be first priority, like how to get to my family. Because my girlfriend actually lives out in the country, so I think she'd be pretty safe. So that'd be pretty cool. But as far as like priorities would be my family. I have like a entire map that all my family has, as in who would I pick up first, and then my brother's a real gun collector, so he has like some of the best stuff ever, but he doesn't want me to talk about that. Uh, Other than that, like I actually have this plan to go out to my aunt's ranch. She has plenty of vehicles. Some of the stuff is actually really cool. If I had to survive, I'd definitely go there. She has like these really strong fortified vehicles that she uses for her like ranch work. So yeah,
How far out of San Antonio is the ranch?
it's about like 40 miles out.
And is it a pretty big property?
It's about like 50 acres.
Okay, because it's central Texas, right?
Yeah, we're
So
about
that's more
southwest central.
wooded. It's not as like north, or the northwest section, which is mostly barren.
Yeah.
So is it more foresty like out there, or?
There's actually a forest section and we also cleared out some of it for the brush. It's all fenced in, which is like a really good thing for security out there too. So
Nice. And does the ranch have, like crops or several supplies? Because how would you handle you know where you'd go to stay safe, but where would you go, or how would you stay? How would you stay alive? Like, what kind of provisions do you have?
well, we do have like a garden section out there. It could supply us for a while. We have deer that roam around there a lot, so that could supply short-term protein. We're actually in the works of hopefully getting some solar panels out there. Also, stuff that'd be really cool. But yeah, like if we had to, we could survive out there because we usually do camp out there, like all on our own with some food supplies that we bring with us. But it's pretty fun, and like I think we could survive out there for a while. But like once again, I don't want to stay in a place for too long because inevitably with all the gunshots from like hunting and other stuff like that, you will get caught up with the zombies.
Well, that's very true. I mean, of course, you'd only want to fire when necessary. But most people, I don't know how long the zombies would take to spread out. 40 miles on foot takes a long time.
Yeah.
So I think you'd be safe for at least a couple weeks if any walkers ended up that way. So okay, so what would happen if the ranch was compromised? Where would you go?
Um. Hmm. I would actually head up north. I always like the idea of heading up north like in World War Z, where he keeps talking about how the zombies would freeze during the winter and all this other stuff. Like, I always like the idea. I don't know if it's gonna be actually like that, but there's always that chance that you'll run to some place like up north is more barren, especially if you go towards like Las Vegas and all this stuff. I would love to be out there in the middle of the desert, like as a nomad kind of thing.
It could be interesting. There's not a lot. I mean, I was just in Vegas like about 2 weeks ago,
Yeah,
and on the drive out there, there's just not much. I
yeah,
mean, like at
it's not
all.
that much, but
Uh, but would you be able to withstand like the temperature differences that you would encounter? Like, are you prepared for that?
I'm prepared for that. Like, we had a really bad heat wave here in San Antonio that was like super bad. We have a drought right now, which is, of course, still kind of killing us, but I don't know. Like, it's not whether if I can. It's like I would have to. There's no like you'd have to adapt to so much stuff during the zombie apocalypse. Like it's yeah, it's like survival. You'd have to survive it, but
Yeah.
I would stock up for it. Like I'd of course bring water and like any kind of provisions and keep moving. So
Well,
yeah.
now let's say you came across like, you're moving up and you came across like a new fortified city or something. Would you stay there, or would you be like, yeah, screw this, I don't want to be around people, and take off?
I do believe in groups and like the strength in numbers, but it would have to depend if they're surviving like off of like actual provisions that can last a while, or if it's just like Land of the Dead where they keep surviving by stealing stuff from local towns, but they don't have everything entirely secured, like when the zombies walked across the river and pretty much killed them all.
Yeah, that would be a problem if it was like Land of the Dead. But I mean, because you have to worry about corruption and who's in charge and how they would stay in charge and that kind of
Yeah.
thing. So maybe that's not the best option. But how how skilled are you in close quarters combat? Like, 'cause you said you make improvised weaponry, blunt objects. Would you be able to fend off a couple zombies at any given time?
Yes, I do believe so. I practice kendo with my friend, which is like Japanese sword fighting, which is always fun. I practice that a lot. I know how to like fight off. I'm a pretty big guy myself, so I can hold back people. But other than that, like I would always switch to a weapon if I needed to in that kind of situation. But if it was just me with like my improvised bat with a nail in it, I think I would be able to be pretty well off in surviving it.
Okay. Okay. And we're actually, believe it or not, running low on time. So let me ask you the last question then. What would you do if you were bit?
Okay, that one actually went through with all my friends and family. If I was bitten, like for sure, not just like a scratch where you could survive it maybe. If I was bitten, I would handcuff myself to like a pipe or something that I couldn't get away from, and then wait till I turn and then have them take me out, shoot me, whatever. But yeah, I don't really want to be a zombie and like hurt my friends or family. I'd rather just be gone and just rest in peace.
I understand that. All right, well, thank you very much, Eric, for being here. For all of you guys listening at home, you can check out Dead Wrecked. I know it's on YouTube, so
Hmm.
you can look it up on YouTube, and also check the show notes for this episode on Zurvivalist.com, and you will find the link for it as well. Tune in tomorrow for our season 3 finale, also on Halloween, which will be great. And you can also find us on Twitter at KZOM Radio, Facebook at KZOM Radio, or Zurvivalist.com. Thank you again, Eric, for being here, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Bye.